Welcome to Backyard Cigars. I have the distinct pleasure of being here with my grandfather, David Ortiz, once again. And this is going to be a little different. I'm going to speak to him in Spanish. The questions will be in Spanish. I will then translate to you what I've asked and what he has responded. So, ¿cómo está, Papá David, hoy? How are you?
I'm sick. I'm sick.
You're sick, but you're hanging in there.
Yes, I'm hanging in there. I'm going to the doctor, to the hospital, back and forth.
Okay, but he's doing well. He's just, he's 84.
Yes.
So,
Sí.
time takes its place. Hoy te voy a preguntar, today I'm going to ask you sobre los cigarros y las opiniones que tú tienes. Today I'm going to ask him about cigars and the opinions that he may have about certain things. But first, we're going to talk about my great-grandfather, Malgaro Ortiz,
Yes.
who grew tobacco in Puerto Rico. Cuando usted era joven, when you were a child, usted, y me puedes responder en español, su papá crecía cosechas de tabaco. Your father would grow tobacco on a farm in Puerto Rico, in Salinas, Puerto Rico. ¿Cuáles son las memorias que tienes del trabajo de su papá? What are the memories you have of your father working on the tobacco farm?
Pues mi papá trabajaba en la compañía. Cuando salía de trabajar en la compañía, se iba a su finquita, que tenía en un cocal que la compañía misma le había regalado.
So his father had a day job, and when his father came home, he would tend to the farm, and there was a plot of a farm that was given to him by his employer for him to grow various things, amongst them corn, vegetables, fruits, and tobacco.
Coffee, yeah.
Coffee as well.
Yes.
Usted me dijo que cuando era joven, su papá le ponía a hacer trabajito con la finca. Cuando usted llegaba de escuela para ayudarle en la finca, los varios trabajos que usted hacía, ¿usted se recuerda? What I asked him is, do you remember from your childhood the things that your father would ask you to do on the farm to assist once you got home from school? ¿Y qué te hacía hacer?
Primero él me enseñó a bregar con cómo sembrar batata, cómo sembrar maíz, cómo sembrar café. Primero me enseñó eso él a mí.
First, he taught me how to grow corn, how to grow sweet potatoes, how to grow different vegetables.
Yes.
And that's what he taught me first. En respeto al tabaco, in respect to the tobacco, usted me dijo que él a veces le hacía limpiar como las plantas,
Sí.
las cositas así.
Sí.
Entonces usted limpiaba en la finca y limpiaba las plantas de tabaco y todo.
Todo lo que ya estaba en la finca había que tenérselo limpiecito.
So I asked him about the tasks that were assigned to him and the variety of things that he had to do, the chores. And he said, in the cleaning of the farm, cleaning the tobacco plants, cleaning anything on that farm, all of that had to be clean. It had to be pristine.
Yes.
Y en la memoria suya, in his memory, su papá, Malgaro, él vendía el tabaco ya procesado a las personas. I'm asking if he sold the tobacco and if it was processed to people.
Él se lo vendía así a mucha gente que vivía en la playa, que nosotros vivíamos. Ellos iban a la casa y él le vendía el tabaco.
So yes, he would sell the tobacco to various people in the neighborhood or anybody that came in, they wanted to buy tobacco.
Yes.
Ahora te pregunto, now I ask him, ¿En algún momento usted llegó a ver donde él enganchaba el tabaco para secarlo? Did he ever see the fermenting barn, the curing barn?
Sí, él tenía un sitio en casa, un cuartito,
Ujú.
que él ponía ahí para que se, ahí secaba todo, todo. Al lado de la cocina y al lado un cuartito, ahí él traía su eso. Y ahí lo guindaba, ahora yo me recuerdo
So,
bien mi papá lo que hacía y se lo secaba y después lo vendía.
so he says that, yes, I remember fondly that my father had a small area, a room near the home where he would hang up the tobacco and he would hang it to dry, cure and ferment it. And then once it was prepared and ready, then he would sell it. And he would
Yeah.
sell it like that.
Ahora recuerdo bien eso, lo que él hacía.
Now he says, now I remember it quite well. And la próxima pregunta, ¿usted se recuerda a las personas que le compraban el tabaco? Si eran personas que iban a usar el tabaco para convertirlo en cigarro, cigarrillo, o sea, la calidad del tabaco, más o menos que usted se recuerda. So I'm asking him if he remembers who his father sold the tobacco to, and if he knew if it went into the making of either cigarettes or cigars.
Yo creo que era para hacer saco de cigarro y para mascar también. Tú sabes que mascaban el cigarro,
Yeah, snuff.
para mascarlo también. Y algunos hacían sus cigarrillitos, porque a veces yo los veía en la esquina,
Okay.
de eso. Y después los veía. Eso yo lo veía, fíjate, ahora tú me lo estás recordando.
So I'm jogging the memory quite a bit, and he says yes, he believes that the majority of the tobacco that was being sold by his father, my great grandfather, was for cigars, but it was also used for snuff. And so I'm asking my grandfather about in terms of the quality and what he remembers about the quality, and just in case the recording clipped a bit, uh, la calidad, usted dice que tu mamá fumaba mucho cigarro y ella sabía de la calidad del tabaco de Puerto Rico. So, ¿qué usted dice de eso, de lo que se recuerda?
Ella fumaba, lo saboreaba, tenía que ser bueno, porque
Y cuando trabajaba también,
sí,
even when she worked, she smoked.
cuando se iba a hacer los partos, tenía que hacer su par de cigarrillos.
So she was a midwife, his mom, my great grandma, and as she was performing, you know, delivering a child, a cigar was part of her ritual, and she would
Yes.
be puffing on it. And as she was delivering that child, there would be rings of smoke everywhere, as he
Yes.
described to me, and she would just really, really enjoy the cigar, and it was a part of her life all the time. So he says that during that time period, the 1940s, from what he can remember, the quality of Puerto Rican tobacco was incredibly good. And, and of course, he started smoking at a very early age, so he enjoyed it as well. Y cuando empezaste a fumar, que de verdad te empezó a gustar, ¿qué usted se recuerda? I asked him when you first started smoking, which was at a very early age, what do you remember most?
Yeah, I remember sometime my mother left a little piece of tobacco.
Like a little stump of cigar,
Yeah, and I used to, and
steal it and smoke it.
yes,
And it was still good.
yes, it was good. Yeah, now I remember I stole Mama half of the cigar and I smoked.
Su mamá sabía que usted se estaba llevando los cigarros. Did your mom know you were stealing her cigars and taking her nubs?
Oh, she come me, she hit me, but you know, I used to take it.
So she gave you papao?
Yeah, she catch, you know, who takes this sugar? Started fighting.
So when there was a cigar missing, You were the first person that they came to.
Yeah.
So
That's what I learned to smoke.
that's when you learned to smoke.
Yeah. Then cigarette later on, but mommy leave the pieces of the cigar. Yeah, I like it.
I'm gonna show you some cigars that I have here, and just so you get an idea of what we're smoking. This is a new time in cigars, and it's a new type of cigar industry from when he was smoking cigars. But obviously, because the quality is better today, doesn't mean that the quality wasn't great when he was smoking as well. Everyone says it's better in our time, right? Entonces te voy a enseñar unos cigarros. Este primero es cubano. This is a Cuban cigar. Le dicen el vejique.
Yes.
Y esto un cigarro grande, a large cigar, que me lo hizo un cubano. It was made for me by a Cuban roller. Y ¿qué usted opina de la manera que what is your opinion of how you see it rolled y cómo lo ve la calidad?
I saw it in my house plenty times.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this was a common sight.
Yes. Yes. I'm Cuban, everybody, what I talk about Cuban cigar.
Ahora, el próximo que te voy a enseñar, the next one that I'm going to show you, is an Arturo Fuente Opus X, and it is Dominican. Este es un cigarro de Carlito Fuente Jr., que es de la familia Fuente de la República Dominicana. Los papás de él vinieron de Cuba y se establecieron en la República Dominicana, y ahora hoy en día ellos son los jefes grandes de la República, uno de las familias más grandes de la República. One of the largest families, obviously, operating in the Dominican Republic, and the ones that really garner the most attention. Y te lo voy a enseñar para que usted lo vea y me diga qué usted piensa de el wrapper, de la capa y cómo se siente.
Te digo, cuando mami me mandaba un mandado a buscar el cigarro, si este valía mucho más que este, yo le llevaba el pequeño, porque mi mamá no tenía chavo para comprar el grande.
So he says, when mom would send me to buy cigars for her, if I had to choose between these two vitola sizes, it would depend on how much it cost. Mom would like this one, but if this cost too much, he'd come home with this one, with this vitola size.
That's exactly what happened.
Pero se te ve bien el cigarro. Does this cigar look good to you? La calidad, la capa, the wrapper.
Yes.
Bien
She
hecho.
had money only for that one. But she liked the other one.
She liked the bigger cigars.
Yes.
So ella prefería.
She know what was a good cigar. She know about cigars. Because
Entonces,
she was smoking cigars all her life.
y ella le gustaba fumar el tabaco que crecía su esposo, su papá. Did she like to smoke the cigar, the tobacco that your father would grow?
Yes. She used to tell me, stealing from your house. Stealing from my car and put some away for me.
So he was an accomplice. So he was an accomplice to to his mother's habit. His mother would ask him to go steal some tobacco from your father and put it aside for me so that I could smoke it later. And now I'm gonna ask him who rolled it for her. ¿Quién lo enrolaba para ella? ¿Quién se lo preparaba? Ella lo metía en un pedazo de tabaco y esa. ¿Cómo ella lo...
Ella lo sabía, pero se lo fumaba.
So apparently he says she would roll it herself. Yeah. And it would be the quintessential farm roll. And she would roll it and she would smoke it. And again, you know, his father, my great-grandfather, was curing and fermenting the tobacco. So it was processed already. And once it was laid down for a while and it was good to go, he'd sneak into the barn house and he would steal some of that tobacco and bring it back to mom.
Yeah.
Ahora te voy a enseñar otro cigarro. Este cigarro es de la compañía que se llama Tatuaje by Pete Johnson. Y este cigarro es de Nicaragua. Y ellos operan en Nicaragua. Y Nicaragua ahora tiene mucho, mucho buen tabaco. I'm telling him about the great success of Nicaragua and how good it is, and I'm showing it to him. I just want him to take a look at it. ¿Qué te parece? What do you think of it?
I don't see design. It's Puerto Rico, huh? With design. But
No dice ahí. No dice Nicaragua ni
this side they used to use a lot.
So this is the Toro size, 6 pulgadas por 52, 6 by 52, the Toro size. And he says this was a popular size
Yes,
in Puerto Rico
Yes.
for a lot of people,
yes.
the Toro size. And so he was used to seeing this Vitola size. ¿Te sorprende que Nicaragua ha llegado al punto que está en la industria de tabaco? Does it surprise you about the success of Nicaragua?
Yes, because Nicaragua wasn't.
No.
That was Cuba, Puerto Rico. What was it? Cuba, Puerto Rico,
And that was basically it for a while.
Panama.
The United States has some in Connecticut,
Yes,
and Panama had some as well.
yes.
And now we don't see Panamanian tobacco as much, although Alec Bradley has used some. But yeah, you know, and we're seeing now tobacco from Peru, Costa Rica, Honduras, and of course you can't leave out the success of the Dominican Republic, la República ahora que también tiene mucho, ha hecho mucho industria del tabaco. And now I'm showing him my little travel humidor here, and it has a hygrometer, it has a Bovita pack, and of course I want to see the, you know, the RH level and everything like that. But I was talking to him earlier about how cigars were kept by his mother, and he tells me cómo guardaban los cigarros. How did they store cigars back in your time, in your mother's time? Like, did they look out for humidity? Did they look out? ¿Están viendo la humedad? ¿Cómo se guardaba el cigarro?
Mi papá lo ponía aparte. Y Dios mío, que le digan a Justina dónde está tu cigarro, pero ella lo conseguía. Ella lo buscaba porque ella es la mujer de la casa.
Y lo guardaban en cajitas de madera.
Sí.
So he says, my father would set, when he had cigars that were already rolled, he'd set them aside in wooden boxes, and he would primarily want to hide them from his wife, my great grandma, his mother, and because she would smoke them all.
Yeah.
So he had to hide them, and they didn't worry. No se preocupaban de la humedad, de nada, de cosas así, de la temperatura, nada así.
No.
So he says they didn't worry about humidity. They didn't worry about all of those things. They would smoke them as soon as they could.
Yeah.
Fresh.
Yes.
Fresh. Ahora usted era joven. You were young. Pero usted no se recuerda cuánto tiempo su papá guardaba el tabaco antes de venderlo. Cuánto tiempo si lo mantenía, 1 año o 2 años. I'm asking him if he remembers, even though he was very young, how long his father fermented or cured the tobacco for, how long he held it before he sold it.
Yo sé que él lo escondía, pero el tiempo, you know.
No te recuerdas muy bien.
No, muy bien.
He doesn't remember
Pero
very well.
Yo sé que él lo escondía. Él siempre tenía su bolsa de tabaco. Y peleaba con mami, porque mami se lo cogía.
So my father.
Después, ella, pues, las cosas tenía que pagarle en la tienda por esos cigarros muchísimo.
He said, you know, a lot of fights in my house were because mom was stealing the cigars and the tobacco, and my dad really, this is part of the business, right? And so he's got to sell it, and he's got to hide it at the same time because. So apparently he didn't keep it very long. Curing time, fermenting time, he doesn't remember. He was too young. But this was part of the business. He passed away before his mother passed away.
Yes.
So a lot of responsibility was left on his mother to handle the farm and pay the bills.
He passed away before Then my mother passed away 50 something years later.
So he passed away at a younger age. She lived to be 109 years old. Do you know if she smoked until her old age? Si fumaba hasta que tenía los 100 años o dejó de fumar, no sabe.
My sister told me yesterday, I asked her, she lived 109 years.
Yeah. And he believes that she smoked well into those 100
50
years.
years before my father died. Before her.
Wow. Wow. Y de usted no ha fumado en mucho tiempo. You haven't smoked in a very long time. ¿Te hace falta? Do you miss it?
Yeah, because the doctor said, if you want to live, you can.
You can't smoke.
You can smoke.
You can't smoke. And you want to live.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you miss it.
Yes.
¿Qué parte de fumar o de los cigarros te hace falta más? What part of it do you miss most?
I used to have my cigar, my cup, cigarrillo.
Just anything tobacco.
Yeah, I move cigarrillo and cigars. Once in a while, I move a couple of cigars.
And you felt relaxed, te relajaba,
Yes.
te hacía sentir mejor.
Yeah.
So it would relax me, it would make me feel better. I miss that, is what he says.
Yeah.
But he wants to live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Y si algún día te mejoras un poco, fumamos un cigarro juntos. Maybe.
I don't know.
Uno pequeñito.
The doctor said I cannot.
So I'm really teasing him, saying, if he one day feels better and his health gets better, we'll smoke a small cigar together. But of course, I would not, force him to smoke a cigar with me.
The doctor told me you can no cigarette, no nothing, no more. You're alive.
Ahora, cuando yo me pongo a fumar al lado de ti, when I smoke, like today, smoking a nice big cigar, Cuban cigar, ¿te dan ganas?
No, you smell. I smell.
So he says, yeah, when you're next to me smoking those
Yeah.
big cigars, especially a Cuban cigar, the aroma entices him and it makes him want one.
But now I can. No cigarette, no cigarette.
No, nothing, no tobacco. Pero disfrutaste muchos años fumando y tuviste
Yes.
buenas experiencias.
Yes.
I basically said you smoked many years, you enjoyed it,
Yes.
and you lived to tell the story about how good it was.
Yes. I did it.
So there you have it. This is a little chat with my grandfather about the olden times, about the days of yesterday, about what it's like when you go through a life's journey smoking cigars, enjoying cigars. And for all of us, we'll have a different time when we have to stop, or maybe we get as lucky to be as his mother, who smoked well into her hundreds, and luckily we'll all be there as well. So I just want to thank you all for coming on and checking this channel out and watching this with my grandfather, who knows how much I love him. He knows how much I love him. So
You better stop.
you got to listen to the doctors, guys. But in the meantime, smoke away, enjoy, and be careful and do it prudently. And always remember health first. But as this man will tell you, it leaves a lot of great memories, and there's a lot to be desired. Thank you for watching. Till next time on Backyard Cigars.
Yes.
I hope you enjoyed the interview with my grandfather. Sometimes I think I'm probably one of the few people that really wants to pick an older person's brain in regards to cigars. But more than anything, I had a great time just talking to him, just being with him in that moment and sharing some of the things from his childhood. And of course, unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. And several months after the interview, my grandfather passed away. It left me thinking about some of the things that he talked about in regards to our family history, in regards to the location of my great grandfather's farm. And I made it a mission to seek out the location and to find out more about it. And surprisingly, my mother and my father both knew exactly where I needed to look and both knew quite a lot about it. So it took me nearly, ooh, almost 2 years later, I actually finally made the trip to Puerto Rico and I was able to find the original location of the farm. And that is what I would like to share with you right now. Salinas, Puerto Rico, in the late 1800s to the early 1900s, my great grandfather decided that he would seek better fortunes in the island of Puerto Rico and he would leave his home in Spain and his family behind. Little did he know that he would never return. Along the way, seeking fortune as a merchant, he suffered an injury, and a woman took care of him, tended to his wounds, and a bond was formed. And from that bond, many children were born. One of those children was my grandfather, David Ortiz. They lived nearby, and this is the place described to be my great grandfather's small farm. An area not really a typical farm, at least you can't imagine it now, but more of a place where people would come and plant their crops, individual lots. But this particular part of this land was where his family crop was planted. It doesn't look like much now. Garbage strewn about. Somewhat of a wasteland. Muddy. The footprints that lead to a past that can't even be imagined in its current state. Before my grandfather passed, he said, if you ever get the chance, you go back and you look for it. There's a ballpark. Behind that ballpark, past center field, there's a stretch of land. That land was my great-grandfather's farm, his father's. As he told it, he said, that was Papi's. Now as you look about, some homes have been built here. And then behind us here, we have a connection to the Black Sea, an area that forms a bay behind these shrubs and this greenery. It goes a few feet deep in water. Let's see if I can show you a little bit of the water. I'm not going in there, but perhaps you can see a little better. I can just imagine long time ago Over 100 years ago, this land was once fertile soil where his tobacco crops would grow, where his fruits and vegetables would grow. Now it's just mud. It's really hard to imagine what it looked like. Tall tobacco plants growing, vegetation of all sorts. He didn't grow tobacco or fruits and vegetables in this area to become a wealthy man or to start a big cigar company. This was something he did so that he could provide for the family. The tobacco was sold and consumed. My great-grandmother loved to smoke cigars, and she often went into his drying barns and took the tobacco that was ready and smoked it herself, rolled it herself. Sometimes, most times, she had my grandfather go in and steal some. I can just imagine her saying, "Get me some of that good tobacco from the drying barn that's ready. Ve, búscamelo." And then she'd roll it, smoke it. But the local town people would definitely buy from him, and they'd buy his fruits and vegetables as well. And just looking at this place full of despair, at least in this little section, it's hard to imagine the thriving community where people would come about and just pick their crops, tend to their crops. It's been so long, but Grandpops, I made it here. I made it here and I found it. These are my footsteps. They've traced the land. And the specific area, I believe, where the tobacco was grown was closer to the palm trees. There were lines of tobacco crops, and as I mentioned before, other crops as well. This was tobacco grown for cigars. And sometimes it was chopped up as short filler for those that wanted to indulge in small cigars. Remember, cigarettes weren't really a thing. My grandfather wanted me to see this, and before he passed, he asked me to pay this place a visit so that I could see it for myself. As he told me the stories of his father, my great-grandfather. And now I'm heading off.